Sasha, welcome. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Nice to be here.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you. Thanks for coming down. When did you know you wanted a career in music?
Always. Like I've always been like absolutely obsessed with music ever since I was little. Like I would just sort of sing and dance around the house, and I was just totally obsessed with music. Like I'd play music on every single car journey. I'd take my mom, and I was always absolutely obsessed. So always.
Yeah, nah, same as me, man. I've loved music. Do you know who my biggest influence was growing up? I know it
Who was
sounds
it?
crazy, but Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Like dead set. Like I did the dancing, I did the music. Like I was play piano early. I was
Yeah.
just so influenced by Michael Jackson. It's a shame that what I mean, later on things got a bit
Yeah.
crazy, but that was my biggest influence, man. That's why I got into music.
That's cool. I grew up on a lot of the sort of like Motown disco records.
Great music. Do you know what?
Yeah.
Actually, going off slightly, me and the missus saw Quincy Jones a couple years ago live at the
Oh,
O2
really?
Arena. Oh my God. He did all
Ah,
of Thriller. He did all the tunes that he'd like
yeah.
produced over the years. It was absolutely crazy, man.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So have you always been into like house music? I think I started getting into house music when I was about 13 and I started hanging out with my uncles and they're all DJs. So when was that little
Oh,
transition for
okay.
you?
University
Oh yeah,
at uni. Yeah, I just I was at Bristol, which is like obviously a massive, a big music scene,
standard. Yeah,
especially electronic music scene.
yeah.
And I didn't really know what I was doing at uni. And then I was like, why am I here? I just want to do music. So I
What did
got
you
into
actually study at uni, just so we know?
drama.
Okay, cool. Wow. Do
I
you know
don't know,
what?
did not.
I studied performing arts and choreography and dance.
There you go. So I
Sick.
got really involved in the radio station at uni. It was called Burst Radio. It was Bristol's uni radio station. And in my last year of Bristol, I was head of music for the station. So I'd be like
Sick.
curating playlists, like three ABC playlists, I guess like bi-weekly, bi-monthly even. And I just got super into the dance scene. I used to go to Motion every weekend. And yeah, that's sort of where my love for electronic and house music grew.
I'm probably a little bit older than you, but like at uni, it was like I got into rock music and like indie. Like it was
Hey,
like indie, like was like Kooks, Razorlight. It was that Block Party. It was that sort of vibe. And I was a hip hop
yeah.
head before uni, and then I went to uni. I became this like indie sort of scene star. It was kind of crazy.
Okay, yeah, I did not go that route.
Nah, for real.
I definitely went down like the house electronic route. But yeah,
That's sick.
Bristol's just sort of like is bursting with that whole scene.
Yeah.
Especially, well, I think now as well, but especially when I was there, like Motions where you went every weekend to see the DJs to party.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really like vibrant scene. Obviously, you got the festival Love Saves the Day. That used to be like a bit of a highlight of the summer.
Yeah, sick.
So yeah.
Yeah, dope, man. Big up the Bristol heads. Big up my boy Got
There you
Some as
go.
well. Repping Bristol. He keeps telling me to get down there. I'm gonna have to get him on the HOTBOX at some point very
Yeah,
soon.
yeah. Well,
But
funnily enough, my first like my debut EP and records that I released as Sasha GiGi came out on Edibles. They on Eats Everything's label
yeah,
Edible.
yeah. Sick,
Obviously a
sick.
Bristol boy.
Right. Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
all makes sense. How did that
But I
how did
used
that
to
come about?
I produced a bunch of tracks, and one of my favorite of this like bunch was called Sugar Daddy,
Right.
and Dan Eats Everything heard it, and he decided he was going to sign it, which is obviously massive for me at the time. It was
For sure.
2023, January 2023, and it was
Right.
like the first ever release. And we then met in Ibiza at a villa party,
Yeah.
um, and he like told me which of the records he was going to sign, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's dope. What are you saying about Ibiza?
I mean, I love Ibiza. What am I saying about what? I'm going down to IMS next month.
Oh, sick.
So I'm
Yeah.
back on the island very soon.
Yeah, man, wicked. Yeah, I'm gonna be out there for sure. Like, I think went out there like 4 times last year. It was so
Did you?
good. I literally
Yeah,
love it. It's
yeah.
like my second home, man. I absolutely love it there. So, is that when you started DJing then, around sort of uni time, or?
No, after. It wasn't even really like a thought. Like I was absolutely obsessed with music. I was creating these like playlists for the radio station.
Yeah,
Came back to London. I was like, how the hell do you like get into the music industry? And I got a radio show on this community radio station
right.
in London. And I was just like, okay, cool. I'll invite like promoters, guys and girls who run festivals,
Yeah,
DJs, producers, artists onto my show and just sort of like connect with people.
for sure.
And so I started interviewing loads of people on my show. Obviously, I was curating like the music for the show. And then I just started getting booked for DJ gigs. And I was like, I know I've never like touched a deck before. Like, what do I do?
Oh my gosh,
But,
really?
yeah.
Right.
But
Okay.
my personality is sort of like, you say yes, then you figure it out.
Yeah, hey, that's the way to do it. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So I took all the DJ gigs I was offered, and I was lucky enough to have some people around me sort of like show me the ropes. Learned a lot of YouTube at the time.
Right.
And yeah, just sort of like took it from there, and it slowly started becoming the sort of main part of what I did, because at the time I was also singer-songwriter, sort of like working on that side of the industry. But as I started like DJing more and more, it became sort of more obvious that was sort of, I guess, like my calling. I still play around London like at least 3 times a week, but
Sick.
there was a time when I was just playing around like 5 times a week, just putting in those hours to
Oh
guess,
no,
like,
absolutely, for sure.
skill.
I know you've put the work in. I mean, do you remember how we first met?
So you mentioned this before when you WhatsApped me, and I was like, I actually have no idea. And so I actually went back to the message. I literally went back to our first message, 2018, December 2018.
Wow.
I said, good to meet you at La Bodega, because that's where I was
There you
DJing, and that's where you were DJing.
There you
so
go.
I started playing thereafter.
Yeah.
Which, for anyone who has no idea what that is like this little Mexican bar, restaurant, club in Soho.
Yep. Shout out to La Bodega Negra and all the crew.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
and I asked your advice on how I set up that loop thing in HOTBOX. Basically, I didn't know what looping was.
Right. Oh, wow. See, that's caught me.
I'm a long way.
I didn't even know that.
December 2018, I was asking you how to loop decks.
Jeez, that is mad. And look where you are now. Releases on Nervous Records and that, but like we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Shout outs to you. I know you've put the work in. I know you put the hours in. Do you know what I mean? I think people sometimes get, when they see a name that they've not seen before. I mean, I'm guilty of doing it, years ago. I don't do it anymore because I know there's going to be a backstory and a long list of hours and years probably grinding to get to where they are. Like when you see a new artist just come up, their name just come up, you think, oh, they just popped out of nowhere, but it's never the case.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I gotta admit, I'm probably still guilty of doing it. I'm like, how did that happen in like 2 months? It's like, nah, like 10 years more like.
Exactly. It is
something like that.
It is crazy. I remember someone came up to me. I DJ'd at Creamfields a couple years ago. Danny Howard got me to open the stage at BBC, the BBC Music stage at Creamfields. And I remember someone saying to me, mate, you just popped up out of nowhere and you got this gig. I was like, in my head, I was like, motherfucker, I've done this for like 10 years. Like, do you know what I mean? This is my first piece of a win. Do you know what I mean? Allow me.
Yeah. And in person, you're like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I just started a month ago.
Exactly. I haven't even DJ'd before. It's my first time.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So
yeah, I haven't even seen a CDJ before.
Exactly, innit? Shout outs to Chapter and Verse. That's my guy. Big ups. I'm sure you've seen tons of DJs being out in Ibiza, in the London scene, especially for like, doing the club circuit in London, etc. Who's your favorite DJ that you've seen live?
This is such an obvious question, and yet I hate this question because every time I like see a set that I'm like, oh, that was like so good, I'm like, that's my new favorite. But I have to say, like, I think last summer or 2 summers ago, I went to Peggy Goo Pleasure Gardens in Finsbury Park, and too many DJs warmed up for her.
Cool.
And like, it was a time when I was sort of like really like develop. There was a point where I was really like developing my sound and skills as a DJ, and just like the journey that they took me on in that set, like really, really stood out to me, and it really had a massive like effect on me over the next year and how I sort of played sets and understood like the art of DJing.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was really cool. And then Porsa, I always like absolutely love the sets.
Shout out to Porsa, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to the whole Solid Grooves Records, mate. That whole gang is just sick.
I know.
BB, shout out to Michael BB.
Oh, yeah. Well, with BB and Porsa, those sort of like house housey, like minimal tech sounds, but then they always bring in those old school classics, and especially Porsa, he'll like pitch down the vocals or have tracks where like the vocals of like those old classics are pitched down, and it just like introduce them in a new way. I think it's really
for sure. I'm sure you've done your fair share of festivals, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite festival?
I was at Creamfields last year, and it was literally like a mudslide, and I was in trainers. I didn't realize. I just went for the day, and I was literally like, it was like stuck in the mud.
Oh dear. One of them ones.
It was great. I mean, it was amazing. I saw LPGOV, Camel Fat played like an epic set. Just like really good vibes around. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty on the bucket list. Junction 2, I want to head to this year. Haven't been yet.
No, nor have I. Where's that?
You're asking. Somewhere in the UK.
For real. I've heard of it, seen it on Instagram, but yeah, I don't know where it's either. So speaking of DJing again, so what's been your most memorable set that you've DJ'd, I mean?
Yeah, I played the O2 Arena with Pete Tong and the Ibiza Classic show in December.
Yeah, sick.
And just like growing up in London and having the O2 as like such an iconic venue, that was like pretty special and a very nice way to end the year. I played High Ibiza in 2022 with Idris, and I was warming up for Idris. But when he came on, he asked off the cuff if I wanted to play back to back.
That's sick. Where were you? Was it like in the main room?
In room 2. So David Guetta was main room and Idris was room 2, and I was warming up for him.
That's sick. That is sick. Do you know?
Obviously, ended up playing this back to back, and it was my first ever back to back as well.
That's mad with man like Idris Elba, you know. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're like, I should have really like played with, you know, a smaller back-to-back first, but if you get that sort of opportunity, you're not exactly going to say no. So
100%. Yo, in at the deep end. You know what I mean? Like, shout outs to chapter and verse again. Do you know what I mean? Straight in.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what? So you guys did like an hour at High, yeah?
Oh, I think we played like 15-20 minute back-to-back.
Okay, cool.
Over the set.
Yeah. Sick, man. That's dope.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Do you know, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
We are gonna ask about that release. But yeah, that's sick, man. It's good to see that you're making moves like that. Do you know what I mean? That is fire. Considering we both started, you know, early, you know, and then we were sort of doing the club circuit. You know, it's good to see you're out there in Ibiza getting sets, man. Like, I'm looking to hopefully get some shit out there this year because I can't wait. I've just had my first booking for a festival come through yesterday, but I ain't going to announce it on here yet because I want to make sure everything's signed, dotted. Do you know what I mean? Before I announce it properly. But it is exciting. Do you know, I've been seeing you pop up on my Instagram quite a lot recently, up on Kiss. Right.
Okay. So yeah.
What's going on over there, Sasha? Like, are you next up on Kiss?
So Sam Divine took a month off, a well-deserved month off. I think she was touring, but maybe it was a month off in January, and it was super cool. They Kiss asked for female identifying DJs to take over her Friday night show for the month. Sick. So it was Saffron Stone, Jess Bays, Jane Gets an Alfie, and I closed off the month, and it was amazing.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, really cool. So yeah, I've done.
Shout outs to Sam Divine as well.
Oh yeah, legends. But I've done a few of the Kiss Fresh shows, which were amazing. But to actually be on, you know, on Kiss radio was super cool.
Yeah, sick. So
I had my friends that are sort of in the car listening to it.
Yeah, man, that's fire. So did you obviously, you must have had a little bit of experience from that, like doing the radio back at uni, right? Did it feel completely new?
Completely different.
Oh, really?
It definitely that came into play. It definitely helped. I have a radio voice actually.
Yeah.
Which is quite low.
There you go.
I was like, hey, it's Sasha GiGi on Kiss Radio.
I heard it.
You didn't ask for it, but I gave it to you anyway.
One of them close-up ones. I'm like, hey everybody, it's Sasha GiGi right now.
Yeah. But also when you put on this headphones and that like, and obviously I guess they add a bit of like compression to your voice, and every breath is like. I was like, oh my god, I sound like I'm like, stop breathing.
It is wicked, isn't it?
Yeah, it's awesome. Really cool, and just like very flattering to be asked to take over Sam's show for that week.
Let's talk about Idris Elba now. So you dropped a tune with Idris Elba, and it's an absolute banger. The tune's called Ooh La La. How did that collab come about? Like, how did that even happen?
So the first time I met Idris was in Ibiza when I played that back to back with him. So that was like pretty nuts.
That was the first time you met?
Yeah.
In person?
Yeah, in person. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a nice way to start that relationship.
For sure.
obviously.
Damn.
And then we ended up just kept bumping into each other at like different parties, and I was actually invited to I was a +1 to his birthday party, which was awesome. And what he did is he actually invited a bunch of like producers and musicians down, and basically had like a massive live jam session, which was so cool.
Yeah.
And I ended up jumping on the mic, and I did this sort of like rappy vocal thing, and I was like, what am I doing? And he ended up like, he popped his head around the door and was like, I could just see that he was like, yeah, I'm into that.
Sick.
And after that, he messaged me and was like, let's work on something together, and started sending me some like beat ideas. And Ooh La La came from this track idea, which was like totally different, probably like 103 BPM.
Oh, right.
Had this sort of like R&B-ish sort of feel, but it had that vocal on it.
Right.
The Ooh La La, his vocal, which is on the track, it had that vocal on it, and I just absolutely latched onto that vocal, took the vocal, and then we started sort of building it from there.
Yeah, proper little hooky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's dope, man. That's fire. And you put that out on your own label, right?
Yeah, on GiGi Records the day before my birthday in October. So that was really a nice way to celebrate, definitely.
Absolutely. I mean,
but also Mene, who's a DJ producer that I'm super into, plays like very sort of like minimal tech house. Absolutely love him. He hit me up to do a remix, and it's currently a SoundCloud exclusive remix, but it like really brings another vibe to the track. I'm really into it.
That's sick. Yeah, no, I haven't heard that one. I'm gonna have to check that out after this.
I've sent it over. He played it back to back with Dennis Cruz actually, and I was like, yes.
Flipping hell, Dennis Cruz. Shout out Dennis Cruz, man.
Yeah.
Flipping hell. Yeah, that's dope. Wow. What a start, eh?
Yeah, it's all right.
Not bad at all. You've also got a song out with Joshua on the legendary Nervous Records called Train Off the Track, which also made it onto their Nervous Rewind compilation album, which is just mad. That's fire. How did that collab come about?
So I came across Josh on Instagram, and I was just like absolutely in awe of everything that he does live. He creates everything live, even when he's playing his sets.
Right.
Everything is done live. He creates the tracks with
like samplers and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, thank you.
That's right.
So he literally has all the samplers around him, and he's literally creating every track that he does live, even in his sets, which I just think is like so awesome.
That's crazy. That's a different level.
Is a different level, and that's his approach, in at least from my experience of what he does in the studio, and that's very, very different to my approach in the studio. And I really wanted to learn from him, but also see what would happen if we collaborated with like such different approaches. I hit him up on Instagram, and he came back to me like, yeah, cool, like let's get in. And we have been in the studio now twice together. The first track we did is awesome, is unreleased at the moment, but is a really cool little track.
Right. And then is it signed?
No,
not yet.
No. So if anyone is listening, and then the second track we did together was Train of the Track.
Right.
And I had this concept of wanting to have this track. I can't keep saying Train of the Track and track. But I wanted to have this track where it felt like everything was constantly in motion and moving. And I was actually in my car listening to this like Marco Corolla track, and I started top lining this idea over it, like I run the beat back, the chains are check, my man, chicka chicka, and so I had this vocal idea and this sort of concept of wanting to use train samples.
Cool. Why not?
And I came into the studio with Josh, and I was like, right, I had this concept. I often start tracks with like a conceptual idea, and then sort of build it around that. And so I came to Josh with this sort of concept, and he came down to London, and we were in Pirate Studios. We were just there for the day. Josh always brings a great supply of snacks. So we had like supply of chocolate, crisps, coffee, and sweets.
It's got to be done. I did have a massive jar of sweets for when people come in for sessions, literally.
Nice.
But I'm not going to lie, I finished them myself. Mad.
it can be done. But I'm just setting the scene for this session.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I came in with this concept. Josh was like, yeah, absolutely love it. He is like such a good vibe about him, always like so positive. And he's like, yes, let's do it. And then he started playing this sample of something that he had played in a set the day before. And it literally is like this sort of like drum beat percussion idea that just literally sounded like a train track.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
So we ended up taking that and building this track around it. And then we ended up doing something different with the vocal idea. And we left the session with these two ideas and neither one like quite worked, but there was like 100% something in them.
Right,
and then like, you know, sometimes in the studio, you just need like a bit of breathing space. Yeah. So a few days went past and then I listened to both tracks again and it was like, oh my God, obviously they should be sort of combined and these elements should be taken out. And Josh was on like totally the same page and we sort of reworked them and built them from there.
Sick.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
nice.
We did a live video of it, which is over on my and Josh's Instagram.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
Go check that out, people. Go check
that out.
How can they find your Instagram?
At Sasha GiGi _DJ.
There you go, people. There you go. Yeah. That's a cool little story. That like I didn't know. Obviously, I didn't know that. So is that your like sort of going off script here, like off questions and that? So is that like your process? Do you usually start with like a vocal idea and then, or do you start with? Yeah, go on.
I think because I've come from like a singer-songwriter background, even though that's not how I see myself now. I see myself as DJ producer, but because that's my background, I often find the hooks in the vocal lines first. Right. So whether that comes from like a sample or that comes from something that I'm hearing,
for sure.
That's where my process often starts. But I also really like, and sometimes it doesn't work like this, but in general, I really think conceptually. So that idea of, for example, like the train being the sample in Train of the Track is like a whole conceptual idea of trains and the sounds they make and the idea that they're in constant motion and they're moving from one place to the other and they're creating a journey. Cool. I often think in concepts.
That's good. I think that is the right way to do it for sure. Because the way I see it is a vocal, for me, the vocal can be the hardest part to get right on a record. Do you know what I'm saying? Like as producers, like as a producer, I find it easier to produce beats. Do you know what I mean? So if I have the vocal and the idea behind the vocal is already set, you're good to go. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think before I'd always start with the instrumental, then try and mold a vocal to the instrumental. Now it's like the opposite way around for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I always love hearing about people's different sort of processes in how they make their music. I'm listening to this like podcast at the moment with Rick Rubin, who is obviously just like one of the most iconic producers of all time. And is just so, I actually really, really need to and want to read his book about like how art is a way of being sort of thing, which I think is really important because as a producer, you can sit down at your desk, like in your studio, you pretty much every day. And it's like, what do I want to make today? And I was listening to how Rick Rubin talks about making music almost like as a diary entry. And so no one's judging your diary. You're just writing your thoughts and your feelings. So nobody can judge that. And what often holds people back in their, sorry, Rick Rubin explains it way better than I do.
No, but you're doing well. Keep going.
But if you think of sort of your creation as your diary entry, nobody can ever criticize that. Sorry. And what holds people back, like artists back a lot, is thinking that it's not good enough or that other people won't think it's good enough. Whereas if you're creating because you're writing your entry for that day, like how you're feeling and this is your diary, nobody can ever criticize that and you can never be wrong. And I think that's quite a nice way of thinking about the process of making music. Otherwise, I think you can become a bit stuck when there's something that you're doing every day. Obviously, sometimes you're unbelievably inspired, but that's not necessarily every day.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how we got into that, but anyway.
No, that's deep. Deep.
Yeah.
But that's wicked though. Like, you know, that's good. That's really good. I might check that out myself because that's a really interesting and a very positive way to think about this game that we're in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think my work sort of, my thought process behind work has only changed probably like less than a year. But before that, it was always like, is this good enough? Is this good enough? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to send it out. No, I'm not going to send it out. I'll send it out. And you know what it's like? You send a tune out to like 10 labels. They may not even hear it. Do you know what I mean? And then you think,
Yeah.
I wasn't good enough, obviously. And then, you can get caught up in like a cycle, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it gets to a stage where you have to think, do I think it's good enough?
For sure. I think that is where I'm at right now. If I think it's good enough, I don't give a fuck what labels are saying. I'm gonna put it out on my own label. Do you know what I mean? Like that's my that's my headspace now. Anyway,
and if I get stuck, I just think like, can I hear this in the club? Do I want to play it in my sets? Because like you're the DJ, I'm the DJ. Right, do we want to play it in our sets? Is it something that we're excited to play? And if it's not, it's probably not good enough. And if it is, then it probably is.
Facts. That's a really good way of thinking about it, isn't it?
Yeah. Came up with that one myself.
I'm loving that one. Stamp your copyright.
Yeah, stamp.
That's wicked, man. It might be cool. Anything that gives us some positive vibes, some positive energy towards what we're doing is always a must. Like,
it's funny because I find it hard to listen to podcasts, even though I know that there's like so much you can learn from them, because when I'm on the move, I want to listen to music. Right. But actually, I'm trying to split my time a bit more now between podcasts and just listening to mixes and music, because I think there is these podcasts are so informative and there's so much to learn from them. And we had like the absolute luxury of being able to listen to someone like Rick Rubin talk about his life and give advice on how to be creative. I mean, I started recently, again, about a year ago, I started driving home from gigs. If I'm driving home, I'll be driving home from gigs and I'll put on classical. And then that moved to podcasts. And there's only a few that I listen to, but it's a nice break as well. Do you know what I mean? But also, if you're thinking about samples and everything, then it's important to be listening to music of all genres and
for sure.
immerse yourself in sort of everything.
Yeah, it's true. Were you ever into like rock music?
Not rock.
Do you know what?
Maybe like soft pop rock, but not rock.
See, I used to be into the hard, like emo, screamo stuff.
Yeah,
I was banging. I was into like bands. I'd like play guitar, and I was in like a metal band like during uni. Again, that was like the rock sort of time. And I've recently made a playlist called on Spotify called "On My Emo Shit," which is all the stuff I used to listen to. And it is fun to listen back to all that stuff. And
there's always something
plays a lot of dancehall in the house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Funk soul.
No, I was going to say there's always something to take from any genre, and you never know where you're going to hear that little earworm that's going to inspire the next track or whatever it is.
It's true. It is true. Music's an amazing thing, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it really is. I mean, I've been, like, as I said at the beginning, I've been absolutely obsessed with music my whole life. I can't even imagine a world like where it isn't a major, it isn't my whole life.
For sure. So, well then, to people that haven't heard your music, how would you describe the sound of Sasha GiGi?
I would describe the sound as house tech grooves with catchy hooks.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Good description. Where can they find your music?
Obviously. Type in Sasha GiGi.
There you go. Google it, people.
I mean, Spotify, Instagram, Apple.
It's all there.
Everywhere. SoundCloud, everywhere. Yeah.
That's it, man. Follow Sasha on Instagram. So moving away from music for a quick minute, let's talk about fashion, because I've seen you on Instagram. I've seen you in real life as well. I know you're kind of swagged out. I know you got the drip. So what was the last item of clothing that you bought?
Oh, I bought a pair of Isabel Marant trousers.
Right.
But
sick.
It was a sample sale.
Okay, cool. You know about
and
the sample
sales.
A deal.
I love a deal.
That's me as well, man. I'm signed up to all of them. Billionaire Boys Club had a sample sale recently. I was so stressed out that I missed that. I literally saw it on the day on my Instagram, and obviously I live quite far from London now, and I was just like, damn. I hit up some of my boys. I was like, go there. Anything that you think I'd like, just get it.
Yeah.
So heels or trainers?
Trainers. I'm really tall. I'm like 5'11", so
you are quite tall. We're the same height, basically. That's mad.
Yeah.
What's your go-to pair of trainers then?
I got a pair of Adidas. Yeah. Nothing too exciting, just like comfy. They look cool. It's a vibe.
Are you into like the Jordans? Were you on the Jordan hype? You know, like
No,
recently? No, not at all.
not really. Just like I didn't really like that high top.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah, no,
I didn't know.
it's all good.
It cuts off my leg, you know.
See, I'm bang on to the higher tops, man. I love my.
I'm
Jordans.
also like super into like my chunky boots.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me
Yeah.
Black chunky boots, and I'll team up with anything.
For sure. Right, Sasha, listen to this now. We're gonna go into what I call the quickfire round. Okay.
I know you mentioned this. I'm really nervous.
Don't be nervous. It's just quick fire though. So as soon as I ask you, you've got a couple of seconds. Do you know what I should have done? So I've got these cool little buttons that like buzzer sounds. Right.
Yeah.
For this round, I should have them in front of me and just hit them. If the person takes too long, I should hit it and say, right.
Beep beep beep.
Exactly. Come on. Ding ding ding. But,
yeah.
So we're gonna do the quick fire. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions, and try and answer it as quick as you can. Okay.
I gotta get in the zone. All right, I'm ready.
Cool. Right. Favorite club in the UK?
Fabric.
Woo! Good choice. Favorite club overseas?
I went to Superior Ingredients in New York last week. Good.
Who was playing?
Sosa.
Shout out Sosa.
Rooftop. There's a basement as well, but we were on the rooftop and you could just see out over New York. It was so cool.
I bet that was amazing, man. How was that whole pausing for a second from the game? How was that trip?
Yeah, amazing. I was just in a bunch of studio sessions. It was so nice to, as I said about that, sort of you sit in your studio every day, often alone, unless you're like in a collab session, making music by yourself. It was so nice to like be in a different place and be working with new people. It was really cool. I loved it.
Sick. Did you manage to catch up with the guys at Nervous?
No, I didn't get to see them in the end. Like the schedules just didn't align, but we were messaging.
Yeah. Cool. Sick. Right. We're going to go back to the game in 3, 2, 1. One record label to be signed to for life. This is a mad question.
Well, I'm about to sign a bunch of tunes to Higher Ground, so Higher Ground.
Higher Ground. Wow, serious. That's big.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Pause the game again. Let's talk about it. So how did this come about? Talk. Elaborate, please.
So my friend Joshua, Kilimanjaro, introduced me to Elle, the A&R. So I have, a lot of love for Josh. For sure. And I sent over this bunch of tunes that I'd been in the studio like by myself for 3-4 months, really working on sort of like developing my sound and figuring out exactly where I wanted to take the sound. And I sort of just started sending out these tunes and sent them to Elle at Higher Ground. And she came back and was like super into them, but obviously it was all over Christmas. So I sort of was like, is this happening? Is this not? And literally just like the week before Christmas, we jumped on the call like with Elle and the team and my team. And they said that they wanted to sign a 4-track with me. Ooh. So I'm super excited, super grateful to them, and just like really excited for that journey. I think they're an amazing label, and sure. I'm super buzzed about it.
Hey, listen, if I could see you, if we were there, come on. Congratulations, honestly, that's wicked, man. I'm so happy for you. That is fire.
Thank you.
Come on, let's get it.
No, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, man.
I've been I'm like super into, as I said before, like I'm very interested in sort of creating concepts around tunes or like creating concept before I even think about making the record. And so I had like really strong visual ideas for it, and they've also just been like so receptive to that and really into it. So I'm just excited to like create that whole world for the tracks.
Let's go. Onwards and upwards. Let's keep it moving. That's really good, man. That's sick. 4 tracks as well. Let's go. Back to the quick fire. You're partying. House, tech house, techno, or minimal?
House and minimal tech.
You're DJing. House, techno, or minimal?
House, minimal tech. I want to hear what I want to play.
Do you know what? Fair play. You're partying. Soft drink, alcohol, or just stuff?
Alcohol.
You're DJing. You're DJing. Soft drink, alcohol, or just stuff?
Alcohol.
Do you drink a lot when you're...
I don't know where you're going with this third one, AJ. I can't even imagine. Alcohol.
Do you know what? my editor wrote it. I take it easy with the drinking when I'm DJing.
Look, at the end of the day, like the sets that we're playing to people, that is our job. So
For sure.
like have fun in your own time, and and get on a vibe when you're playing out. But at the end of the day, you're there for everyone else.
For sure.
Like that's your job. So
sure.
whatever vibe you need to be on, cool. But make sure
you can still do your job, innit?
Yeah.
Right. Only one person you'd love to collab with. If you could collab with anybody, one person. It's a hard one, isn't it? I'll give you a little bit longer to answer this one because it is a difficult one.
Well, the first person that came to mind was Michael Bibi, because his were the first sort of like sets that I just absolutely fell in love with the way that he was playing.
Yeah.
And he's obviously an absolute legend. Solid Grooves, like the parties are just
mad. Mad.
Yeah.
Right. This is an important question now. I ask this to everyone that I meet in Ibiza, in pretty much every club. It's like a bit of a joke question, but Sash or Chicane?
Yeah, no, I'm too young.
It's an old film, really old film. It's a comedy, and they go to Ibiza, basically. You got to watch it. It is classic.
Yeah.
And they go to Ibiza, and they meet this big DJ who's DJing in Space. It's now High, isn't it? It was Space.
Yeah.
And they're DJing at Space, and the big Ibiza DJ is this guy called Eyeball Paul, right? And Eyeball Paul is called Eyeball Paul because he gets a bottle of vodka, puts it on his eye, and drinks. He drinks the vodka through his eye. It's so funny, Sasha. You gotta watch it.
Oh my god!
I'm literally
my girl DJ group on WhatsApp is called Kevin and Perry Go Large, and I never even thought to Google the reference.
That is it. I'm telling you, you gotta watch it. And then he goes to them. He goes, so you two are DJs, are you? Because he's from like Liverpool, and they're like, oh yeah, we're DJs. And he goes, all right. Then he goes, and he walks with them, and then he goes, Balearic House or Pumping House? And they're like, Pumping House. And he goes, commercial or he goes, house or garage? And they're like, house. And then he goes, Sash or Chicane? And he goes, Sash. And he goes, ah. Watch it. I'm probably not doing it justice. Just watch it.
No, I think you are. That's brilliant.
It is so funny, honestly. Definitely watch a film, all right? I promise you, you'll crack up. Right. Ableton or Logic?
Logic. I'm a Logic user. I'm a Logic user for my sins.
Oh dear. Do you know what? I was Logic when it first came out. It was banging. Yeah. And then I think just because through my career, it's been like my uncles have been like the guys showing me the ropes sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they showed me Ableton. First they showed me Fruity Loops, and then Reason, and then Logic, then Ableton. And then I just stayed with Ableton, and I think they did as well.
So I started recording vocals before I started producing, and so that was always in Logic. And so I was already like accustomed to the interface, and I just really like the interface of Logic.
Go to synth.
I'm still like experimenting at the moment, so I wouldn't say I have a go-to. I love the M1 and the TD3,
right?
But I like that acidy sound of the Bay Ring is really nice.
Yeah.
But I don't have a go-to at the moment. I'm still like just experimenting with the sounds in terms of like my go-tos.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. No, that's cool. The M1.
What's
Korg
your
M1.
Yeah, the Korg. Yeah.
Love it. My go-to.
Yeah.
Serum.
Okay.
Definitely Serum. But I do love the M1. I can honestly say every song I've ever done has got something from the M1 on it.
Yeah.
It's an amazing plugin. So maybe that should be my bloody go-to.
Yeah,
plugin,
there you go. Moving over to Logic, and you're going to be using the M1.
100%. Right. As house music is evolving constantly, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems to be getting faster. Like, do you remember when house music was like 118 to 120, and then it got pushed up to 122, 124, 125, and it's just.
I think there's a scene where it's really quick at the moment.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if that's moved into a new genre other than house. Do you know what I mean?
I know. Where does it cross, innit? Where's the line?
Yeah. Are you going to ask me what my favorite BPM is?
I am indeed.
I knew it.
What is your go-to BPM right now?
Yeah, so most of what I'm making is at 128, and I'm pushing some of it to 130.
Yeah.
The most I'm pushing it to is 132, really 130. But yeah, 128. For warm-ups, I'm really trying to keep it below 126. Which is like actually quite fun for me because it's a bit of a challenge. Because most of what I play is at 128. But yeah, my sweet spot is definitely 128.
Yeah, see, for me, at the minute now, like my last song, Panama, that just came out, that's 130.
Yeah.
It's the fastest record I've ever put out. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
all the other stuff that I've signed that's with like Nervous as well, that's all like 130. Like 128, 130 is the sweet spot right now, I think.
Isn't it?
Sure.
That's a nice record, Panama. It's doing well, isn't it?
Thank you. Yeah, got to number 8. Shout outs to everybody supporting, buying it on Beatport. Thank you.
There you go.
Pretty cool, man. It's still in the top 100 as well, which is fun.
Oh, nice.
You ever been to Miami?
No, not yet. I really want to go. I need to go for Miami Music Week.
Right.
When I get booked.
Yeah, for sure. See, that's like me for Glastonbury. Like, I'll go to Glastonbury once I get booked for Glastonbury.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I get that.
So, what is next for Sasha GiGi? Obviously, we got higher ground, but we want to hear from you. What is next?
Yeah, I mean, that's my focus at the moment. These 4 records that I'm going to be putting out with Higher Ground, which I'm super excited about. And yeah, I'm just in the studio creating. I'm really focusing on collabs at the moment. I'm really enjoying working with other like artists and bringing our sounds and ideas and like methods together. And yeah, other things I can't speak about right now, but you'll see. I'm playing a show with Pete Tong in Brighton on the 9th of March.
Nice, 9th of March.
It'll be awesome. So I'm opening and closing, so I'll get that feel of both sides of the night.
yeah, for sure. Oh, that's awesome, man. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm buzzing.
Following on from what you said about collaborations and stuff like that, I fully agree. It's definitely better to have more than one mind in the room, and it's quite a solitary job, as you said before, isn't it? Like, it is.
Sometimes I go out in the evening
on my own as well.
Yeah, I go out in the evening and I'm like, someone says hello, and I'm like, people.
In it. But yes, following on from what you were saying about collabing and stuff like that. So the next question is, when are you getting in the lab with AJ Moreno?
Yeah, we got to sort something. As I said, 100%. I love your track Panama, so we'll have to get a date in, definitely.
For sure, man. I'm a big fan of your music as well. When you come down here, we'll get in the studio, we'll cook up, and we could do a guest set and stream it live to the viewers.
Yes, love it. Cool. Love it. Nice one.
So listen, thanks for your time, Sasha. It's been wicked chatting to you, and thanks for being on the HOTBOX. We'll catch you soon, yeah?
Thanks for having me. Nice one.
Let's go. Peace.